number 10 right now. And again, going to number 11, which is the Blacklist. The one that they have to hit.
Yeah. The Blacklist one was established in season
8.
Season 8.
I was going to say, that was my first season in, and I remember seeing that and how big of an impact that was.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to a point. Echoes, who knows? Who knows exactly what can happen? But I will say this, there are some changes, too, that we'll talk about later on.
Yep. We have a player coming up from the MDL that replaced Andorio. It was in the sheets. It was in the headlines all throughout. But, gentlemen, I don't know if you agree with me, but walking into the stadium, into the arena tonight, looking at both of them and just looking at the matchup, is it just me or does this feel like a fight to you?
It feels different.
Does it not feel like they're just about to scramble? It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, you can talk about the metagame, you talk about the different standings from both Echo and Omega on the leaderboards, but I just feel like we're going to see a fight.
I saw Omega walk right behind us, and they were like, whoa, these guys mean business.
They were not playing around. They were not. They were in a good mood, but you know what I mean? Like, when a dude's about to get into something, you know,
Yeah. They need to be because it's funny because me and Mangino were talking about this earlier in the week. He asked me to do some of like the predictions, out there for exactly this week 5. And if I remember right, I think he's the one that said that there's a chance too that Omega is the one to break the streak. Right? That might happen.
Okay. Manjin said there was a chance, but did he put a nail in it?
He didn't put a nail in it.
Oh, all right.
No 10%? No 10% here?
No. He's like, because I gave my vote that could break the streak this week, and I said RSG Philippines, right? They might be the one to do it. But I will say, now that they've added the player named Matt.
Just Matt. Straight up. Could have been someone you went to high school with.
It's scary. Yeah, it's like basically like could be
I'm sure all of us know a Matt.
I know a couple.
I know a few.
Here's the third one. And that's just in my immediate circle. So you were saying?
I was saying like literally that's the thing. Now that they've added Matt, I'm just wondering how that changes the dynamic, right, of exactly for Smart Omega, because there's a couple things. We have basically the headline for this matchup is the Matt and Renzio buff. Will it work against Echo? What do you think, Leo?
I think Matt is the shot in the arm that they need. And just the same, Andorio wasn't bad. I can't put a finger and say Andorio deserved the swap, but I think Omega, Coach Stronger, everyone in management, they just said, you know what, let's just do it. Prevention before cure, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Renzio is a known factor. We all know how Renzio plays. We know how well Renzio plays. Matt here, from his MDL performances, there's interviews where he says, everyone here in MDL, they deserve to be here. I don't. I deserve to be MPL. That's more of the Omega I know. Yeah. So if you're thinking about me, if you're talking about attitude, I think Matt knows it. He's got that tempo right there. And let's see the stats.
Look at this, Omega Matt. Right, career stats. This is from MDL Philippines, of course, season 1. His, across the board, right, statistically it looks really great, and I think that's probably why they just decided, you know what, let's give the guy a shot. And Dorio, like you mentioned, wasn't bad. He wasn't a huge proponent to why they were struggling. He might have been a part of it, but he wasn't the entire piece. So now they're going to make a change here.
I've been harder on other junglers that are new to the MPL. Like, you know how much I was skeptical about King Kong's performance initially in Season 11, but Andorio, almost in the same day, I was like, yeah, no, he's not bad at all. So with that said, this bring up for Matt, this come up for Matt, it has to mean something. And the stats are one thing, but just the same, what they talked about when they said the Renzio buff, I think it's because in addition to Renzio's history with Omega, he had a little message.
Yeah, he had a message. He had a message to go ahead and give. Again, he's playing in Team Cambodia, so I think we have a video for his message to Omega, I believe. Right there. It's right. Okay, so we don't. There it is.
Oh, there you go.
He's got a mullet.
He's got a mullet. Okay. So I don't think I don't have the audio on this, but I'm assuming he's just got a very supportive message out there.
He's sending his love from all the way in Phnom Penh to Omega tonight, just saying, you know what, give your best against Echo.
That's probably why Omega looked a little different when we saw that, right? I'm pretty sure they heard that before. And I have to say that it's, what do you call that? It might ignite a fire.
I think so.
That's what I can think about it.
Well, if the showstopper says so.
It's a buff.
If the showstopper says so. In recent history, Season 9, if I'm not mistaken, it was Omega who dropped Echo from the play-ins
from the play-in.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good
so
catch.
Almost sent them home crying, literally, almost literally.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
okay, I remember the moment.
It was very real, but here in season 12, we're far detached from that
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
It's all about Echo tonight.
It's
So-
also a different meta, right? So
Yeah, it is. It's changed, right? So Rockhard, take us through what happened in their first matchup back in week 2.
Again, it looked like a smart Omega that looked like it just needed to pick up steam. That's what I've been talking about them for about 3 weeks in. Every time I'd see them in the hall, I was like, yeah, you got the right mix of heroes. You got the right mix of how they move around the map. But, it's Echo. Obviously, Echo they're on fire right now. It's very few teams can actually put that fire out, if you're thinking about it. And for Smart Omega, this has been their, what do they call that? It's been their identity for a few seasons now. Always a funky start. And when they do get going, they can actually pretty much be on par with the choo-choo of the Orcas,
The expressway,
The Express.
right? Right on the expressway to that win streak goal is what they're after right now, and they're well on their way.
Yeah, so tonight, it could be Echo Express taking a legit stop within the barangay, or they can just run right through. It's one or the other.
And at the helm in the front of that track is Matt. So
He's just, what's up, yo?
Yeah,
Oh, no, he's in the barangay, so he's there.
He's just there, right? He's part of it.
Ultimate Tanod, man.
That's what I'm saying. When we took a look at those stats too of his performance in the MDL, of course, it makes me really interested to see how this changes the dynamic of Omega, because that's something that has been happening over the course of seasons. Where you kind of have these different iterations of Smart Omega's lineup, and it changes. It changes things. But ultimately, that personality, that barunga, that one shot is still there. But before the matchup, we are going to hear some more about this matchup from our insider. Let's throw it over and hear about that.
Ating kasama. Coach Stronger, halika dito. Coach Stronger. Okay. Coach Stronger, nakikita mo ngayon si Matt. Ano ba ang meron sa kanya at nag-decide kayo na, Matt, dito ka muna sa MPL?
Manjin, kitang-kita namin kay Matt nung nag-start siya sa MDL, yung gutom eh.
Yung gutom.
Yung gutom
Yung gutom.
talaga.
Okay.
Oo,
Ba't natatawa ka? Ba't natatawa ka pag sinasabing gutom?
Gutom ako eh.
Okay. Gutom ha, guys. Gutom. Okay. Okay, ano yung meron sa gutom na yon?
Saka kumbaga nakita namin dun sa, kahit sa bootcamp, sa training, kumbaga pagka nag-in-house kami, talagang desidido siya na matuto talaga. So, para sa amin sa MPL, kung deserve mo, bakit hindi natin bigyan ng chance?
Alright. So eto na ang decision ni Stronger. Malakas ang tiwala mo kay Matt. Alam ko matagal nyo nang pinoproblema yung jungle role na yan. Matagal nyo nang pinoproblema yan. Ang makakatapat ni Matt ay si Carl TZ. Papalag ba?
Papalag.
Papalag. Alright. Abangan natin ang galawan ni Matt. Ibato na natin sa ating mga casters para sa Omega versus Echo.
Thank you so much, Manjin. And again, great to hear, from Matt. Obviously, he's looking like he should be confident. Like he should be confident here. There, of course, I'm sure he's prepped a lot. Like we said, he's had a pretty great time in the MDL. Well, now it's time for Matt to step up with the rest of the team and see if they can give it to Echo in this rematch.
What a way to prove that you belong in the MPL by stepping up to the jungler, Carl TZ.
It's like, all right, first time in the MPL. Hi, guys. I'm facing Carl TZ, world champion. Oh, okay. All right.
It's basically stepping up to the bench and putting hundreds on each. Like, let's go. This is it.
It's like your first time NBA player, and then you're facing off against MJ. I don't know what to say, man. That's
Literally.
just the way it is.
It's
Hey,
literally.
If you want to trial by fire, this is it, right? Matt, a lot of people are going to have their eyes on you. Wish you the best of luck because of who you're going against, of course. But again, I'm sure that they have really prepared for this. They've pretty much strategized this entire week coming into this as we got that information, throughout the week. So as we see Echo and Smart Omega both kind of get prepped up and ready.
All right.
Look at that. They're ready to go, right?
Where'd they get that? I want some of that.
Oh, it's just Keller who has the
just-
heart on his forehead. What's that?
It's a sign for heart guard.
Oh.
It's basically what am I gonna say? A symbol.
Use the ult on me.
Use the ult on me.
I see.
And that No, I was going to say, you know, when we talked, because last week we were all talking about Kara in the jungle, right? But obviously now he's not going there. So, and we saw the matchup that they had too when we were talking about that gold lane matchup. This time, I think a lot of focus is going to be on the jungle because it's kind of either that, like, if, let's say, right, because Matt comes into the jungle for Smart Omega, let's say he doesn't get to go specifically and, you know, dominate Carl Tizzy in the jungle, I think that's okay, right? As long as the team is able to play around Matt's strengths, if you will, and if he kind of gets out-jungled a little bit, which I think people are expecting against Carl Tizzy, let's be honest. But given that, I think the team can still really help Matt secure what he needs to for the objectives and then just come down to where we want to see them improve the most, which is the execution around these neutral objectives. On
a personal note, I think Matt's to-do list has just but one big item on it.
What is it?
Not to mess it up.
Oh, yeah.
So again, that's trying to lift that bench off and just get that one rep.
Power rep, bro.
Power rep.
To failure.
And there's also, like, a wise man once said, you don't need to always get kills, right? There are other ways to be useful.
And not only that, but I mean, what we're seeing a lot here with a lot of the teams going on, especially against a team like Echo, is the fact that you just need to prioritize these neutral objectives, right? The Turtles, the Lords later on, work around the map as well. Try to get the advantage you need, right? But both teams are ready to walk out on stage. Let's go ahead and welcome them out for this matchup.
Wala yung 5. Hirap na natsahan. Diba? Players. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Let's go ahead and take a look at Echo, a lineup we're used to seeing here at Rockhard.
Definitely the World Championship lineup. And then again, this is exactly the lineup that you want to face off if you're Omega, who are out to prove that we are back on form, that the Comeback Kings have come back into the Land of Dawn.
This lineup is just as clean as it gets. Just perfectly optimized and just hits on all cylinders every single time.
Again, there's a reason why they are on the win streak they're on. Now, taking a look here at Smart Omega. Leo, take us through it.
I think if you say that Matt is the X factor, you are completely wrong. You're underestimating the situation. You saw it in the eyes of Coach Stronger.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what, we want to give you an opportunity, and I think it's more than opportunity. You have to read between the lines. Smart Omega needs you, Matt. You have to make a difference.
He might just be it.
Yeah.
He might just be the guy that you call on in the last minute when you really, really need those points.
That's why I can't wait to see him perform here in this matchup, because it's going to be one hell of a test. Now, looking at the team head-to-head, of course, we know what happened the last time they met. We know the kind of just dominance that Echo has had here. Now, Smart Omega, on the other hand, we got to pay attention to a couple things, right? Specifically, their playstyle obviously relies a lot on Chaknu even, right? We haven't talked much about any of the other roles here, but for Chaknu, someone that a lot of people had expectations on throughout the season, he's had some amazing games, he's had some underwhelming games, right? And then on top of that, we know what people expect from Kelra and even just the rest of the squad in general. How does that change? I mean, looking at this chart right here, it's quite a difference here, Rockhart.
I think the turtle control ratio and the lack of their Lord control as well boils down to just exactly what you mentioned, Naisu. I think Chaknu's consistency, being able to control these fights before they happen, being able to, make that huge play, it doesn't always happen. When it happens, it's amazing, it's brilliant, but again, that's something that Omega has to work on, getting from that 50-50 range. And right there, you can see 30%. You gotta pump up those numbers.
I'd hate to put more pressure on Matt, but all of those things just boil down to the follow-through. It all boils down to after Chaknu initiates, what's the jungler to do? What's the next big step for that big rotation and conversion?
And we know that, seeing what he likes to play, it's going to match up well against Carl Tizzy and Echo here. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the keys to victory for this matchup.
These are the keys to victory between Echo and Smart Omega, brought to you by Infinix. Infinix Note Series, ultra-fast gameplay. Now, here coming into this one, I firmly believe that if there was ever any game to go for it, it is still going to be up to Echo to keep the dream alive. That streak-breaking performance that we're expecting from the world champions right now. Just keep winning. Just keep winning. I mean, that's all there is to it. I feel like the Echo lineups have been rehearsed so much already that everyone already kind of knows that they're going to pick in the first place. It all boils down to being able to outplay them. And speaking of that, I wonder if that's going to be something that we're going to be seeing from Omega with Matt. Ilabas ang lakas. Bring out your A game. Bring out the power in you. Because I feel like there's so much that we can that he learned probably from MDL that he can probably apply here. Definitely coming up against a world champion on your first MPL game might be distressing for others, but who knows? Maybe that's one of the reasons why Matt is here in the first place. And as for both teams to force him out of their comfort picks, I wonder if that's going to be the case here for Echo today. Will they pick on the possible weakness of Matt, or will they maybe respect that too much, and that might be their downfall? That has been the keys to victory here. Again, brought to you by Infinix.
Great insights there, right? Because again, a lot of this is really up to that. Like we need to know. A lot of the viewers, a lot of the Brunga out there really want to know, of course, how Matt's impact will be the case for this team and, of course, for this matchup. And Echo, really, they just got to keep doing what they've been doing, right? Keep winning, keep going for it. They haven't changed anything, honestly. Like, even when the new patch came out, the meta, barely anything changed. Maybe some picks here and there, but that's about it.
Forget about it. Echo's got this down on lock. But, Joseph, Carl mentioned something very important. What if Echo decides to bear down on that possible Achilles heel, that new addition to Omega's lineup, that possible weak point? You know what this allows? I'm looking at this from an optimistic side, right?
Yeah.
What if this opens up Omega's Kelra? What if this allows for them to just say, you know what? Okay, you beat up Matt if you need to. Kelra's going to shine.
Oh, there it goes.
Could be the case. But also taking a look at the player head-to-head here, Rockhart, between Sanji and Etu and Max. How's it looking?
It's surprising that we are seeing higher average assists here from Etomax. Is it maybe because of more games played? No, they played the same amount of games. So far, the captain has been actually improving, even in the KDA, because there are games that he actually didn't die. I remember that like a few weeks back where untouched.
As a Novaria.
Yeah. They remember. And that's impressive, right? I guess Etomax is one of the constants here for Omega, so that's why it's a really good way to compare it against Sanji. Again, World Championship. Maybe speaks to the skills as well of Etomax, possibly World Caliber as well.
Yeah, again, I think a lot of people wouldn't doubt that. He clearly has a ton of experience. It's just when you're matching them up, again, you can really look at the individual level and lanes. But we all know it's a team game. It's a team effort, right? And for some reason, Echo has just figured that out faster than a lot of teams. And it took them some time as well to get to the point where they are today, of course, world champions. But the synergy factor is really what sticks out for a lot of people that just watch Echo. You know, from around the world, they watch them and they see just how well things are choreographed. When it comes down to those team fights, the Lord takes and everything else, it's just played out so well.
Yep, I think it's come down to the fact as well that Echo always has a one-track mind. All of them are thinking of the same game plan, and all of them are working towards the same goal. And it all starts here in the draft. Hell, even Tick and Treb are onto it.
Well, we'll find out here. First game in this series. We'll see if Smart Omega, everything we've talked about from, you know, Etumax performing very well individually to Chaknu to Matt's introduction to the team. We'll see if that changes anything. We've got Echo on the blue side. We've got Smart Omega on the red. First ban's already coming through. Nothing too crazy for that fact. One thing, though, is because the Angelo was taken out, we know, you know, Smart Omega likes to even play with that route. If they don't ban out any more supports, for example, the Matilda, the Rafaela, then do we see them go that route here? What do you think for Echo for priority?
Yeah, I think the healers are still going to be the highest priority here for both teams. And judging from the bans of Echo, they don't really mind Matt right now. That's not part of their game plan. Because if you saw from the most used heroes that were displayed earlier for Matt, he doesn't really play anything different from the normal opponents that Echo faces off against. So they said, why do we need to make any special exceptions today? We can just do what we do, and then let's see if they can catch up with our gameplay.
I'm really wondering what that priority is going to be for Echo. Not just that, but even on the flip side, right? As soon as Smart Omega gets those 2 picks, I mean, they're the ones that even banned out the Akai, and we know that Matt likes to play the Akai. So there's the answer, right?
There
She's open. Might as well pick up the Matilda. We know how strong she is, and some people say she's a little too strong.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we saw actually quite a bit of performances just in this past week with Matilda across the world. But she's strong for a reason, right? Teams will pick her up if she's not banned out in that first phase. So what is the response here from Smart Omega, knowing that, hey, we've got to deal with some of this mobility. We've got to deal with this, just the utility that Matilda brings alone, and the response is a Yuzhong and a Baksha.
Man, they got all the tanks right off the bat here. And that's something that I know a certain caster will be very proud of. Finally, their Yuzhong came out. I gotta say, this is something that I was actually itching to see in the previous series for specific slots here. Now, I know that the response here will be to just not overreact to this one. Fredrin right there on the jungle, securing it out for Echo. And maybe their gold laner, but maybe not. I guess Benicuity becoming one of the most flexible gold laners right now just earns him that spot on the last parts of the pick here. Novaria is going to be it. And again, with Valentina being banned out, the mid lane options here for Smart Omega looking a bit more slim.
Yeah, not only that, but now that you have to deal with a Matilda and a Novaria, that's already something to be concerned about if you're Smart Omega. You know, not only are you trying to deal with the vision that you're going to be spotted out with, of course, with the Astral Echoes and dealing with the recalls and everything else, you also have to deal with Matilda. So, interesting though, an answer from them happens to be Grok here, locked in for that, rounding out that first phase.
Yeah, Grok Rome right now being locked in for Chaknu. So that's one of the beefiest comps and beefiest front lines we've ever seen today, I gotta say. And here on the draft index, their burst, I like that they added the Grok there for the added burst. But yeah, their sustained damage right now, damage to turrets are going to be very limited. Their burst damage on taking down individuals after the wall charge is going to be very limited. So that's something that maybe Echo can attack here.
But despite Echo actually getting, a dream come true. This is what you call Christmas land for Echo. Yeah. Getting these 3 heroes in the first phase. I think Omega are onto something. Just last week when Chaknu picked up the Grok as well, we were also wondering, why are you allowing these things? Why are you letting these things happen? And why are you giving opponents so much leeway? And we were answered almost immediately. So maybe this time, maybe with these heroes left out for Omega and what they've allowed Echo so far, it might be a master plan. This might be a master stroke from the barangay.
Yeah,
I'm not calling it out. Yeah, I'm not saying this is conclusive, but there must be a plan.
Yeah, lineups like that actually will telegraph an Irifel. A huge lineup that can keep running and keep shooting.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to see in an Irifel lineup. And there it is.
There it is.
So they didn't risk Benny-Q to getting it.
See?
Uh-oh. Right away, though. Tariz are going to come through. We know how much this hero is contended, as you saw, the contention for it, how much of an impact Tariz has alone throughout the majority of the game, especially when you get that level 40, you have that penalty zone. And it's something to deal with, but still, Smart Omega, the fact that they drafted these first 3 picks already sets them up for a lot of CC. There it is, Iksha coming in to play for Echo here.
Okay, I have a theory. The only reason why the Iksha is okay and Echo is safe and confident, drafting the Iksha into the Yuzhong, or the Baksha even, is because they have a Matilda. And this rarely happens.
That's true.
You can rarely protect the Iksha this way, so... Okay, how does Omega close up though? They gotta close up strong.
Yeah, they need range. Absolutely need range. Novaria is out, so they're gonna need someone that can kind of work with this triple tank lineup in front of your screens. Maybe a Lilia, but again, it's banned out, so it's really slim pickings. Might force Kagura.
Do they need burst or
Farsa,
DOT?
Eve. These things are really, really useful, but then again, these are picks that are very much useful. Oh, Kadita! I forgot about the Kadita.
Okay, so they want to go fast too.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, Kadita. So that's burst.
Yeah, that's burst. They didn't go for range. They went for pure burst. Wow.
Look at this. From the index mid-draft, suddenly look at how much Omega Balloon. Look how much they made for it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there must have been a plan.
I think
100%.
Irifel adds like 3 points to late game.
I was going to say, and then, the Kadita as well, just burst potential is going to be huge. So even with the hero DPS, right, that's why you have so much potential, I feel like, really in Smart Omega's lineup. It's, again, where, everybody kind of contemplates drafts, but obviously we always have to consider the execution factor. And one thing that you can say based on the history of the season is so far Smart Omega, they either have these games where they start off super strong, they get the momentum going, or they literally take the whole early to mid game to build up to where they need to be. You saw the audience prediction there as well, highly in favor of Echo. So we'll see once again as we get a last look here of the lineups for both teams. Can Smart Omega, the barangay, with their new recruit from the MDL, Matt, contest this win streak? Possibly stop the win streak of the Echo Express here, loading into the land of Dawn. We'll see if they can pull it off as we jump into game number 1.
I have to really highlight this game is a battle of close range burst knockups that destroy versus long-range pokes coming in from Echo. They're going to have to really, really work their way into the Echo lineup. But when Omega does it, it's going to be very difficult for Echo to actually deal with it.
Gentlemen, you see that? You see what JP did in the first rotation? He just looped around the orange. And now, Little Wanderer scored over by, look at that, Omega.
There it is. So far so good. They're really leveraging their tankiness, and they're able to really control every part of the map they can, especially right now that the Iksha isn't in anywhere form to be able to contest. Same with the Novaria, right? They're going to need some time, they're going to need some items before they can actually become a threat. And the builds also speak very much into fighting into this kiting lineup that Echo has.
Yeah, nothing, in terms of what we're used to seeing in emblems, Echo is going for literally pure mobility for the most part. They want to be working around that, putting pressure on Kelra, right? Because Leo even mentioned this. This might be the time, really, for Kelra to shine in this matchup if he can get to that point, and I think Echo knows that, right? That's why they want to put pressure in that gold lane if they can. Real quick, too, we've got some MPL Philippine trivia. 2 words, Quantum Charge. Most used Tier 3 talent, even in patch 1.6.20 with a use rate of 39.45%. It's usually used by gold laners and jugglers. If you don't get the joke, you missed out.
Sanford from penalty zone, serving up first blood, taking down Ryota, and that's a man down. Omega staring down the barrel of 4v5 as the first turtle is pulled over by Carl Teasy.
Oh my goodness!
Goodness me!
Could have sworn it was a simple snatch and grab, but no. Sanji said, you know what? I see something. I'm going to take it. Down goes Etomax, and Echo scores a turtle. 2 minutes, 30 seconds in.
Do you see what I mean? Like, the synergy, for some reason, from Echo literally follows the drums here, right? It's on point. It's tough to deal with because, yes, it's still early in the game, but, you know, with the turtle, with those kills, they're now finding themselves a little momentum here. Rockhart, take us through some of these early builds going through.
Yeah, penetration right now obviously is going to be the key here. Flat out stats. I gotta say, I gotta follow up on that one. It was so smooth. It looked like Carl TZ was flying halfway across the map there, getting into these kills. And again, JP just becoming a huge expressway.
Gentlemen, look at this. Look at how fast JP's walking through the jungle. You see this? This is the full effect of agility plus wilderness blessing.
It's
just zooming. Look at that. Look at the mini-map.
Literally mobility.
It's comedic.
Yeah, and there's very little, again, they need items before they can actually fight, right, Omega? But no, JP and Sanji, they can do this all day.
Wow, I didn't even realize, you know, because we don't see Matilda too often, but she is just literally moving through the map at this point, right? With that, just the way her kit works as well. No wonder so many teams decide to just ban out Matilda. They don't have to deal with it, but for Smart Omega, right, as they look at this. I mean, this is Etumax versus JP here. Now, that's what I want to see, though, is if Etumax can find some of this pick-off potential. You clearly draft a Kadita for a reason, right? Your sole purpose is to burst a enemy opponent down, get that advantage if you can. So if Etumax continues to get zoned out by JP alone, you're going to have some trouble, right? Especially as the game goes on here.
I think that's the biggest challenge right here because, again, if you want to get these kills, you got to get near the opponent. And Echo, they can smell you from a mile away. That's a problem here.
They can smell it. They can see you all flicker in. Wild charge. Benny Cutie could not stand a chance. The Mamba is in the building. And now it's Echo's turn to go ahead and see a 4v5. This 50-50 turtle looking like it's blue and green. Now Matt collapses in. Ryota comes through as well. Popping the appraiser's rat. Carl Easy and JP circling around. Turtle at a tent of itself. Sanji still takes it.
How?
And they take one down. Chaknu's fallen. Carl Easy traded out though. Kellera falls as well. There's buddies everywhere. Wow! As JP gets on out of here. Matt, can he live? Oh, he's not going to survive. Double kill for the Apex Predator. 40!
That was a disaster. They're not even done yet.
Sanji!
Sanji!
What? The San duo don't stop.
His recall button was stuck for a second.
Yeah.
It's better now. He's okay.
He's
all right.
okay. He's fine. He's fine. He looks good.
All right,
Man, oh
Sanji's
man.
on fire. Whew.
Well, there you go. That we just see it right there. I mean, Omega can get in front of Echo, but what do you do after that? Like, the damage is just more.
They can get in front of him, on top of them, around them, but yeah, no. What are you gonna do when you get there?
That's the problem, right? Now, we saw a little bit of hope, of course, when they made that play in the bottom lane against Benny Cutie, but you know, Smart Omega gonna have to keep doing something, right? They have to find a way. They can't just continue to lose these resources to get further behind. And it looks like they might go for something.
Oh, here we go. Sanford to the penalty zone, trying to take out Etomax, but that's the rough waves. The captain still survives. Razor's Wrath coming in from Carl TZ. 2v1, pushing away Chaknu and Ryota. That's a no-go.
Yeah, we're seeing the strength of this line. Oh,
Benny Cutie gets
go
jumped
for it.
onto by Matt, popping the puissance. Benny Cutie flickers out. Kellera gets a kill.
Good
There you
pickup.
go.
They found something. That's what they had to do. I mean, they're making it hard for Benny Cutie. And, you know, Rockhart, you talked about this specifically even with the Ixia, right? Oh, Etumax.
Oh!
Look at JP. He's not done.
Coming in with a circling eagle to finish the job.
Woo, as I was saying. You talked about this, you know, the fact that Ixia... Oh, no, Chaknu,
No,
he
he's
should be
not.
fine. He should be fine.
Mamba with the
he's
power
fine.
of wilderness. He's okay.
Okay. Ixia struggling right now, but the rest of the team doing great. Kellera just trying to farm up, right? Has some of the rest of the team here. They might be able to contest this turtle and actually secure it for themselves. But Carl TZ, JP, and also Benny Cutie in the area. Sanji as well.
Astral echoes more than enough as Carl Deasy threads the needle, goes ahead and steals.
You know what? This lineup of Omega, they suffer around early to mid. It's
Yeah.
fine because they don't have the power, the damage just coming from the Irithel. But when Kelra joined them, you can see it's night and day.
It's night and day, and the main thing that I'm worried about, obviously, aside from this damage dealt chart that you're seeing here, is, you know, a typical scenario that we see from Smart Omega. Like, how much time do you guys need, right? With this lineup especially, and the way that things are going. Yes, it's, you know, it's not too bad. It's 3K gold ahead. You're almost at the 8-minute mark. Your next big objective is the Lord, which I'm kind of worried that unless they get an amazing set-off, they might not be able to even contest that first Lord yet, just in how things are looking. Even in terms of, you know, the gold earned, Kelra's doing a pretty good job. But, you know, who do you even focus on when a lot of this poke potential from Sanji alone is tough to deal with?
I guess the big question here is whether or not Chaknu can find these targets that we're talking about. I guess they have enough firepower for maybe a few people at a time, but they can't really fight straight on 5v5, which we're trying to do right now.
They ended up looking for a fight and catching it too. Rough Waves to save himself from the circling eagle. And the Black Dragon form ends its run. And now Matt gets caught out. Matt caught between a rock and a hard place. And 4 members of Echo as Sanford takes him down.
That looked a little off, right? I mean, in terms of the thought process there, the follow through, what Smart Omega wanted to do, it didn't work out. Chaknu should once again be fine. He's on this grok here. But Smart Omega's going to lose some stuff, especially this Tier 1 turret right before that first Lord comes up, unless they somehow hold on to it, but most likely Echo will look to get that if they can.
Yeah, look at JP just going ham right now.
There it is.
With anyone who is going to basically go up front against this Bathilda.
Dude, JP's been playing since minute -2. He's been game before the game even started, and that's showing right now.
I mean, look at like his build-wise even, right? It's nothing crazy, but the amount of poke he can do is crazy as well. Oh, look at this. Chaknu.
Coming in. Here's the answer from Sanji. Astral Echoes. Spots a few. Circling Eagle from JP. Catches Kelra from the back. And Lord still standing. Penalty zone from Sanford. And the Guiding Winds. Tries to get a beat on the Kelra. Still up. Sanford very low. Poisson's popped in. Down goes Etomas. Caldizi gets a kill. Sanford shutting down. Got him by Matt. And they're all dropping. Chaknu and Kelra are the only ones left. It's just the Filipino Savage. And Benny Cutie's not done with him. Oh, they let him go. As Carl Tizzi goes ahead, finishes the Lord, starts it up one more time.
Now, it looked good for a moment there, but like we mentioned, all the damage of this Omega lineup right now basically resides with Kelra. And Kelra was being ganged up by 2 Echo members there, so it was actually very difficult for him to participate in the other parts of the fight, where the tanks were getting beaten down. And there was very little they could do after that initial burst of damage.
Yeah, you kind of saw that whole fight unfold, and it just basically speaks. It paints the picture on how far behind Smart Omega is right now. And, you know, I think a lot of people are just waiting for them to find some form of hope within this match because, you know, we've seen this before, and it could happen, right? If they're able to defend Kelra, if he continues to build up what he can, they might just have to rely on a great setup once again from either Chaknu or Etumax finds a pickoff potential. But at this point, you know, some of that, even that combination when you have a Kadita with the Rough Waves, it might not even be enough, you know, but it could be followed up, especially from Kelra now that he's got this Malefic Roar in his hands. This is where they have to be able to defend, find some form of hope, turn the tide if they will. Well, we'll see if they can handle it because right now Echo will be marching down Etumax.
Man.
Really low.
And he gets on out of there. OMG working on this Lord. Successful defense. No inhibitors fallen just yet.
They got good damage, but right now, what else can they do outside of their base? Again, if you're under these turrets, it's very easy right now. They got walls from Chaknu.
And JP with the Circling Eagle canceling it. Scrambling Omega just a little bit more. Chaknu using that Guardian's Barrier to maximum efficiency. Oh, but they need to manage these waves. They're crashing in constantly.
And they're getting poked out so much. Benecutie's not even joining these fights yet. So there's that range damage that we're expecting from this Ixia from downtown that's going to be very difficult for Omega to answer.
I'm wondering if they actually want to press this situation. You can see this is the power of a Novaria as well in the hands of Sanji.
Man.
They're going to go.
One more time, a canceled Circling Eagle as Echo makes quick work of that wave, but just the same, Omega holding on. They're holding on to these inhibitors.
Yeah, it just feels like a bit of a temp check here for Echo, you know, just measuring up their opponent right now. Are they going to overreact here with a circling eagle? Will they try to go for something nuts? But I guess Omega still has a lot of that trigger discipline that we expect from these players.
I feel like it's going to be, next time we see them do that, obviously Echo, despite the lead that they have, they want to be careful, they want to be disciplined, but Omega might have an answer here.
Oh! Tit for tat. Sanji saw that coming from a mile away. Flicker wild charge answered by an astral recall. And Omega once more caught scrambling around. At least they're outside their base.
Yeah, those times where you expect Omega to get scrappy, no, that's not happening here right now because, again, the range advantage is huge between these two compositions. Where the damage is coming from is actually something that's very different. Because, again, it's always up close and personal here for Omega. Meanwhile, Echo, they have so much room to work with. Not to mention they also have a Mathilda that adds so much to their mobility.
Yeah, this is hard, too, because as you saw there, right, there's quite a bit of gap even between the junglers, right, 2,000 gold or so. It doesn't really allow Matt to even contest this. If he gets into this fight and gets taken for surprise, knowing that even Kelra's not there, they could be in a bad position, bad situation here.
JP here, going in with the circling eagle. Matt rolls out. Black Dragon formed by Ryota. They're trying to crash down on Carl Tizzy, but there's way too much defense, way too much HP on the side of Echo. As Matt scores a Lord, and Kelra pushes down bottom with no casualties.
What?
So Omega pulled a fast one over the Orcas, but Ryota, can he survive? Comes in, Benny Cutie wins the 1v1.
I did not expect Matt to somehow get that.
He was alone, surrounded by Echo players. I don't know what happened there. I would love to see a replay. I don't know why Echo didn't react to that. Quite questionable, but I don't know. I don't know what they were gunning for.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I'm pretty sure Carl Tizzy had his retribution as well. Like, was not expecting Matt to get that, but great that he did. Now, my question is, you were down nearly 9,000, almost 10,000 gold. Yes, you've got the Lord here, but can you do anything with it, right? Can you use that as an advantage? Right now, it's going to be dealt with here. The bottom side, you can see everybody cornering up. Chaknu going to go with the conceal.
Goes into the Y bush, ain't no one home. What's he thinking? He does have his flicker. Down goes the Lord. And Echo just finding the angle. Carl here finds a taunt. 1v1.
Oh, they got Kelra!
Dear Lord, off camera, just slightly to the left. That's a man down. The Omega Barangay holding on. 4v5 as Echo goes ahead, plans their siege here in mid.
Oh, I don't think they might possibly try to end it here. They have some clear they can use. Obviously, they have the Guardian barriers as well. But usually, if Kelra is going to be down in this lineup, you lose so much firepower, right? We already talked about this earlier as soon as the game started up, and you're seeing it. But Echo, happy with the middle inhibitor turret. They get it down. They might just go ahead and wait another minute and a half or so before the next Lord. Now, if Omega wants to find something out of this, can they actually do it with their lineup? That's the big question. Here's the replay. So, Matt, okay, Carl Tizzy was just CC'd, basically.
They were busy with Chaknu, basically.
Yeah. So
there it is. He's far away.
Wow.
Okay, and then he was waiting for the guiding winds, and he thought that was the perfect window, but when it happened, Matt already hit the retribution on the Lord. So that's what happened. It was a call between the turn and the Lord take, and Echo tried to do both.
I think they were expecting Matt to slow it down and dance. Matt was like, nah, I'm going to keep going.
Hey, good on Matt, though. It keeps them in the game, let's be honest, right? At least at this point, we were thinking it was looking dire about 4 minutes ago.
Yep.
They're nearly bought 5 minutes so far. Kelra, you can even see itemization-wise, he's where he needs to be.
Yep.
Just picking up, the next item here, the DHS, he's got that. So
full items.
Really, they should be able to go toe-to-toe in some of these skirmishes and fights. It would be great if they can get the advantage by surprising Echo somehow.
Man, Sanji's 80k. Almost triple of what Kelra's damage is. All because of these Astral Recall.
Oh! JP catches a wild charge right in the face with a few hits from Ryota like it was nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, healed back up. That's exactly what you get.
Still there with Sanford as well. The guiding win out. Now again, Lord is up here. Matt wants to pretty much go for another shot. See if he can make it happen once again. But Echo probably going to be a little more careful with this one. Chaknu doesn't have the wild charge just yet. They got to watch this angle, see where they go through. Kelra also waiting on the outskirts here.
A little bit of a scrum up top, and now in mid, they're crossing the river, playing with the bushes. Juking is what you call it in the business. Lord here now, a fifth of its health. Echo have a dominant position. Etomas is caught one more time with a circling eagle. Knocked him into the air. Rough Waves healing him up. Ryota with a Black Dragon form, and now this little tiny alley one more time. Full barrage from Benny Cutie, taking down the Capitan. Now Carl Teasy drawing a line. Sanford pushing them away. Penalty Matt steals the Lord one more time. And now they're going to punish Ryota. Circling Eagle. Cancelled out. Sanji gets the kill. And now they crash on the Matt. There seems to be another quarry up top. And now Matt gets bonked down onto. And Matt's going to fall here. And that's 3 down from Omega. Shaknu and Kelra left to defend.
Oh, that's tough. That's Dicey Kelra.
Oh, bam! And down goes the Savage, and just Shaknu here left. 5v1. The Mamba falls. And that's a pop, the immortality. And ladies and gentlemen, Lord spawns. Shaknu's buying time here. It's a wipeout. And Echo are just going to take their time. Etomas, can he defend?
Tumac still up here. Echo.
Time here.
Full barrage!
Full barrage!
Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, Echo takes game 1.
All right.
And this winning moment is brought to you by our official sponsor, FWD Life Insurance. What a strong game there from Echo. Some promising things from Matt and from Smart Omega there, but unfortunate they couldn't keep up with that pace.
That was a tough one. But then again, add that to your resume. 2 retributions to get to the world champion jungler. I guess anyone would be happy with that. But again, it is a good start. Just not quite enough to get that point.
Yeah, it's, again, I was kind of surprised with the first one. And then the second one is like, wow, they were there, right? And Matt came out on top of that one. But still, you know, as things kind of unfolded, it just got way out of hand. And like we said, it takes a little bit too long for an Irithyll to have the damage that she needs, you know. And if you draft something like the Kadita and you're not able to get the kills early on, you're not really able to scale up. It's unfortunate because you're not able to utilize that pick for the way you want to, right? But before we talk more about it, of course, we want to go ahead and mention it is now the October Starlight. It's now available with only 300 diamonds. That's all it costs. You can get Layla's exclusive Twilight Waltz skin, and that'll be yours. Check out the dazzling debut of Layla's anniversary exclusive painted skin. Midnight Waltz, the Starlight Lucky chest, will also be available for a limited time, so get it now. Speaking of chest, did you guys see the chest out there in the, I think it's the Pasig River for the for the anniversary?
That was huge.
It's huge.
They've yet to open it, so I'm
waiting.
I'm holding out. I am dying of anticipation.
Yeah, Layla players are actually rejoicing because the skin's actually pretty good. I love it.
No, Layla as a hero now, I think conceptually is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just she hasn't found her moment yet.
You know, hey, speaking from my heart here, now that Gord has found his way in the meta, I'm sure one day all the Layla mains, just like I have, they will be able to rejoice.
Hey,
You'll get there.
we see plenty Layla in the main menu.
In the main menu.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
never mind. It's her dad there now, but
I was gonna say, isn't
Eventually.
Layla the
No,
one
let-
also with the most skins, or is it Mia? It's one of them,
Yeah, it
or
is.
Lancelot.
or Lance. I don't know. Well, they have
Or
a ton of
Cho,
skins.
I don't know, right?
or that.
Either way,
and then
it's
of
an
course,
addition.
there's still heroes out there too that have 2 skins. By the way, they're default in like 1 skin. So, but again, it's 7 years of MLBB action, and for this one, you know, being 12 seasons in for the MPL Philippines, of course, too, is quite the astonishing fact, you know, if you will, to think about it. Now, for Echo, the fact that they're nearing their 10th win streak mark as well is quite a crazy fact to think about.
1 game away.
Game
One
away.
1 game away. Satu game away. Isang laro. It's amazing.
Isang Laro away.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. We'll see. But Rockhart, why don't you go ahead and take us through Game 1, how Echo won this one.
Yeah, the Echo Express went full steam in that previous game right there. And I have to say that, you know what, it's a very classic game. Carl Teasy on a very signature hero, Frederick, I would say is something that you can already expect to work well. I don't know if Matt fought Red Vat at all, but the big bully of the Land of Dawn right there in that game, it was JP. I mean, from minute 0, minute -1, I think, Leo mentioned, just going non-stop, going full ham onto anyone that's going to go up in front of this Matilda. And it's getting picked up by every team here in the MPL for a good reason as well. There's just so much that you can offer, aside from obviously good damage coming in from your Wisps. You also have just so much mobility with your guiding wind. It's so easy for you to get into the back line, and that allows heroes like obviously the Iksha to be picked up. Although again, I like seeing the effort of Omega here with that burst. That's exactly what happens, right, on your screens when it works out. But that's one of the very rare moments of this game that did pan out the way that they expected. I think Sanji was huge here, but also, again, all of this revolves around Echo maximizing and utilizing the mechanics of the Matilda right now. Again, the added shielding and healing, as well as the movement. I mean, like I mentioned, it was like vroom vroom goes the train there in this previous game. And Echo, with JP being one of the most veteran players as well in this lineup, I was actually not super surprised he would go full ham. He has so much knowledge, so much experience with these heroes. It's so easy for him to find these small moments of weakness from Omega's lineup and then capitalize on it. Although, I would say that Benecutie was also very much a very hidden hero, an unsung hero here in this game, where he would actually snipe out individual members, not go for that fancy, flashy full barrage on 5 people, but he got the job done. He got the targets that needed barraging. I don't know if that's a term, but that's exactly what he did there. And overall, it was just a huge rage discrepancy, I would say, that caused Echo to just get ahead here. It was very difficult for Omega to get a fight where everyone was healthy and then we could go, wail on each other. No, it did not happen that way. Every time one of these fights would happen, it's either they're getting wisped out by the Matilda, they're getting hit by Sanji with these astral recalls over and over again, so that even mages like the Kadita, which has basically full regeneration capabilities, are basically getting whittled down to half HP. Imagine that. And imagine in the draft we were highlighting that Omega had a very tanky, free tank front line. That's the Yuzhong, the Grok, as well as the Baksha. And if Echo can do this against a lineup like that, imagine what they can do against a lineup that can be a bit more squishier. But then again, I digress, because maybe that lineup that we're talking about might have more range to fight against, might have more abilities to throw against the Echo lineup, so maybe it might have been a better fight. But this one, there was no fight that Echo was facing that, we're full 5 members, we're all healthy, let's make it a 50-50 match. No, it was almost at most 60-40 in favor of Echo every time an engage would happen. And again, all of that actually boiled down to a very good early game that was shown by Echo here. And then again, all of that was because of JP. Look at that, 100% team fight participation each and every turn. JP was there. He was able to get the game or get the ball rolling. And once Echo gets rolling, they're not really going to stop anytime soon. And overall, I would say if Echo keeps doing this, they have knowing just where and when the limits of their heroes are. I feel like this is going to be a very quick game too here. But then again, I have high hopes here for the Omega lineup with what we saw from Matt here. Seems a very, very good, at least it wasn't a win, but it's still a very good debut game, I would say.
Yeah, I would also kind of agree with that. Matt, I'm sure he had some nerves. Let's be honest. You're going against someone like Carl TZ. You step up from the MDL, you're going to have a little nerves. But relatively, if you look at him individually, he did all right. And he got a couple of those retributions against Carl TZ. We'll see if he's able to kind of find the nerves and really settle in for Game 2. But before we get to Game 2, we also want to mention you have to watch out for the weekly giveaway that will be posted on MPL Philippines' Facebook page for a chance to win your own Smart Bro devices. The mechanics to join the giveaway will be posted after this weekend's tournament, so make sure you watch out for that. We have tons of things in store for you guys, especially if you come out and watch here at the Shooting Gallery Studios. So again, we are going to be in a second, we're going to go ahead and head over to Game 2, but I think there's more, especially for our crowd out here. Once again, Shooting Gallery Studios is where Season 12 has happened this entire time. It's been amazing. It's pretty much been packed throughout the regular season, and we always love interacting with you guys. So if you haven't, if you don't get a chance during the regular season, because there's only these 2 weeks left, we hope to see you guys in the playoffs, right? So when more information comes out, keep an eye out for that, because there's a ton going on. And of course, right now we are going to be looking for our Smart Game Face of the Day in the MPL Arena. Be the next Smart Game Face of the Day winner. Just flash the hashtag #PowerOfSmart on your devices in a green background. Familiar face right there. Put your game face on to win a redeemable in-game code. Is this it?
Is that him?
Is that him? Well, he's got a prop.
He has a little. Is that a little Aeromax sticker? Oh wait.
Oh,
it's a
1v1.
face-off. It's a game day face-off.
Wow. It is a face-off.
So what's it gonna be?
Is this young man? Is this young man or hip hop
on,
artist?
man.
Is
Am I
he?
right?
Is
Oh,
he?
this guy wins.
He
The
wins.
little Aeromax.
Little Mpl-Max right
They even got the camera effect going on, man.
All right. So what's the face? Like, you know the tradition, right? We don't make the rules here at the desk.
What is the?
Is that? Just
I think he's just biting his bottom
just a
lip,
little
man.
sheesh,
Yeah.
a little sheesh, my guy.
Is it? Is it the sheesh bite the bottom lip?
It's the most low-key ever.
A little
There you
sheesh,
go.
my guy.
Yeah.
Mobile phone over here.
Yeah. So he won it, right? Again, congratulations to him. We always love seeing your guys' smart game faces here in the MPL Arena for us. So come watch, right? If not here for the regular season, the playoffs. We hope to see you guys there. Can't wait for more details to go out about that. But now, the matchup at hand. Once again, Echo is at match point. Very strong, dominant game number 1. I think a lot of people expect this. The key to victory, just keep winning. That's what Echo's going for. And it was on the, as you saw from the MVP, this was on the wings, not the shoulders, the wings literally of JP, the way he played that Matilda. I wouldn't be surprised if that even slipped through the draft for Game 2.
Again, the first phase of Echo was a pipe dream. Like, nobody gets that draft. Nobody gets those 3 heroes in that combination.
Yeah.
But again, now in hindsight, it was way too expensive. It was too big of an opportunity cost for Smart Omega to actually open up. And now, looking back again, hindsight's 2020. It's not fair to judge them in that sense, but they went too deep, man. They went full dive, and you know what they say, you never go full dive.
You never go full dive,
So
bro.
there was very little range. The re-engage was off the back of almost single-handedly both Matt and Ryota on the Baksha and the Yujong. But that aside, maybe now, going into Game 2, they take note of that, and Coach Stronger and the rest of the gang, they're like, okay, we can do better. Let's cover our bases. We can't go full dive.
And just like previous drafts, actually, that's right. I mean, this is very similar to what we've seen in earlier today, where it was obviously an Irifel lineup. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy to read that, right? So maybe don't do that.
Don't build up around the
Don't
Irifel.
build up too much around the Irifel, you know?
And it exacerbates the whole situation on Kelra is the carry for Smart Omega. You double the weight on the young man.
Yeah, it's literally putting a sign. Again, when they came out, before they came out, he had a sign on his forehead, right? So we'll have to see. The other thing, too, is, again, I think you just take out the Matilda. Unless you try to lock it in yourselves, I'm wondering, too, if we see a switch of sides here, see if they want to go for the priority, right, the Smart Omega on that play, if they can. But, yeah, I think even if you look at the initial draft in the first phase,
Man.
they were going to a route that we've seen teams have success with before, right? These are like the tanky boy priority picks you go for. The setup potential could have been there. We even saw the Mamba try to do that. And it got to a point where it almost seems a little desperate, right? They're trying to find these setups to turn the tides of things. The downside is, once again, like Leo said, you put all your eggs in the Calro basket at one point, right? It just does not work like that, especially against a team like Echo. So
Holding way too many eggs, my guy. It was just-
too many eggs,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the way that they won that obviously was, aside from that very beautiful first free draft, right? They also stole away Etomax's comfort heroes, the heroes that were Etomax actually, shown. So normally Etomax would shine, then Keller had some leeway, but no, this game was all Keller, like you guys mentioned.
Yeah. Again, there's only... I feel like Kadita is literally built that way as a hero. Like, high risk, high reward. You can't have all that firepower packed into your kit, and at the same time not have a glaring weakness of you could just get shut down completely, right? And that's kind of what happened there, especially with the Kadita pick. We'll see if even Antumax can get a more, I guess, signature pick of his that's not all banned down. Again, we'll jump into the draft for game 2 here. We'll see exactly where they line up on the sides and what kind of bans go out for the first phase. It is going to be Smart Omega on the blue side. We've got Echo on the red here, and you can see it, right? The Matilda right now is going to be open. If Smart Omega decides not to ban it out, we might even see them take it for the priority here. But Echo, I don't even know if Echo would actually let that slip through, Rockhart.
Man, that's true. And Chaknu, Matilda, I don't know, feels different, right? Doesn't it? Although they're willing to pick up heroes like the Rafaela still, so maybe they can consider opening that up. And obviously not a priority pick here for Omega, but there it goes. Matilda's out, so probably gonna see more of the Rafaela still.
Yep.
Hopefully not Prio, maybe second or third pick here. But Valentina still pretty much, I don't know, still is open right now, so maybe that's something they can do. Kelred, Antumax definitely more comfortable with that, if not the Novaria.
Or the Baksha.
Or the Baksha.
So you see how dangerous these trades are for Omega?
Yeah.
They get the Valentina,
There's
right?
the Val for
I can
Antumax.
get with this. So for Echo, you're left with all of those so far still.
So much. They're actually so much open right now. It's a sea of heroes. They can still pick up the Novaria if they wish. They can also have some of those healing.
Yep. It's like a kid in a candy shop.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot on the table here. I think this was safe, take the Valentina first. Okay, on the flip side, Echo is going to be like, you know what, we'll take the Kadita this time around, and the Lancelot locked in here. Signature pick.
I guess this is a welcome. Welcome to the MPL.
Yeah. let me sign that for you, kid. Autograph.
Oh, man. What's going to be the answer, though? You can still go Baksha here. You can still pretty much go Frederick. I know Frederick's banned out.
Martis, if it comes down to it.
I would love to see a Martis here.
I don't know. The Martis seems dangerous, though, since there's very little interaction between what heroes Echo has so far.
And I've also seen Martis's fall to the Kadita traps as well.
Yeah.
This is comfort for Mana at least.
Yes.
Right?
Play a lot of Akai.
Yeah, a lot of Akai. We saw it banned out in the previous game, so he's getting his hands on it. They also have an Edith this time around, so, still, your bases in terms of a front line, someone appealed, back line, initiator, it's there right now.
That was interesting because Omega didn't even risk getting it banned out, because it was banned out in the previous game. So they're making sure that Matt is still in a headspace that they need him to be right now, not to get overwhelmed by a Lancelot.
Yeah, something to note, as Echo here picks up the Kaja, which plays so well into what Omega's doing right now. I gotta say, first three picks for Omega. Dudes, they're doing the dive again. These are 3 dive heroes.
Oh, yeah.
They're going for it. Little trivia right there, too. You see it. JP, he's got 100% Kaja win rate since MDL Season 1.
Man.
That's scary.
That's absolutely scary here. So if you see the draft index here, burst is going to be through the roof. I was going to bring that up. Their team fighting going to be very limited, obviously, because it's mostly single target. Even the rough waves, technically AoE, is still primarily used to take down individual members, most likely the ones being affected by the Divine Judgment. For Omega, though, it will be more... We're still waiting for their damage output, right? Because obviously they have the zone that they need for the Akai, something that can also control the Lancelot, but they still need that firepower.
Yep, they can play with the battlefield, they can play with positioning, and again, they're very dive-centric, so they need to give something to Kelra that's reliable. They need I don't know, they don't need burst. Maybe DPS. What else is out there?
Beatrix, maybe.
Beatrix, yeah. They go the Bea. You still have, obviously, the Iksha available, which we saw, Benny QD play pretty well. Previous game.
The Brody.
The Brody.
The Brody's still out there.
The Irithil.
Irithil is super duper vulnerable here.
It's the same situation as game 1.
Yeah,
man.
so
Again, going against, especially with the Kaja on the plate, right? I don't know. It might even be better if Kelra's just like, how do you avoid this kind of dive composition? You know, that's one of the challenges here. Beatrix is also just kind of swooped up, taken for Echo for the hands of Benny Cutie.
Oh, they take the Beatrix over there. All right. All the more the Brody looks great.
What a classic Echo lineup so far. I love what they're doing here. At the same time, you're also going to have to think about survivability, but you are also going to be the core damager here. So Kero's pick has to be really sustained DPS and something's very reliable.
Oh, man. Is something going over my head here? Are we looking at a Brody or maybe even a Harith? Dare I say?
Harith is actually pretty good.
Harith? Oh, yeah.
You know, we're just changing all the enunciations, aren't we?
All right, I'm gonna die on the hill of Martise. All right, like, don't fight me on that.
I was gonna actually ask you for a second. Like, I've only heard Martise a couple times.
Here's the Brody.
All right,
but
this makes sense.
Here's Glue. I don't know how you're gonna change that one, Leo. So,
no, Glue's great. Glue's good. Glue's good.
There's Glue. So the answer to, you know, the Brody came out plus that Grok. Very similarly, though, Smart Omega is going to have still somewhat of a tanky boy lineup right now. Yeah, you got Edith there, so tanky girl.
Now looking at Omega, they learned from game 1. It's mid-range now,
yeah.
And there's some dispersion.
There's
some ways for them to get in and get out if they need to.
Not only that, but because you have the Akai and comfort for a mat, what we've seen teams do before, obviously, is really push away. Go to try to push away, right? Carl Teasy, for the most part, you not only have to rely on map for that, but also the rest of your kit that you have here. Draft index-wise, we can see things falling into place. There's a lot of favor here for Echo.
Yeah, mostly, definitely late game is the one that you're going to look at. The burst, obviously, still... Well, they have the lineup that can blow up almost anyone who goes in their front.
Single target, boom, boom.
I was going to say, ISO is off the chart here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised it's not touching the point there.
It's about to break out. That's how bad it is.
Talking about a Kaja and a Kadita, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty deadly in terms of isolation.
You don't get more ISO than that.
Yeah, I really don't know how more isolated you can get. But we'll take a last look here at the lineups for both teams. We'll see if Smart Omega, like we were talking about, can deal with counterplaying around this isolation play that Echo has drafted here. Not to mention, we've got Carl Teasy on that Lancelot, a favorite, obviously, of his, and it changed the world in that hero alone. So we'll see how this all plays out. If Smart Omega can take us to a game number 3, or Echo continues their streak in a sweep.
You know the biggest exclamation point for me here for that Lancelot pick is how early it was picked up.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't care.
So I think it's like a test.
All right.
Yeah.
To be fair, most Lancelots these days get banned in the first phase.
That's true.
Right?
Though.
In between the Fred and the Baksha, you kind of like the Lancelot. So I understand where Echo's coming from.
So there it is. Ban out will be, of course, a Beatrix. It got counterpicked against Kelra. Again, Claude doesn't really make sense here. We were expecting the Harith maybe.
Yeah.
But then again, it's all up to Kelra. Wants to survive more with the Brody pick.
Definitely looks like your Kelra starter pack.
The Kelra starter pack.
Those 3 heroes.
Yeah, the booster pack, that would be it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Anything out of the emblems that stick out here, Rockhart?
The biggest one is obviously the Assassin emblem pickup here, coming in from the Echo lineup, which means they want to go fast. Even their roams want to go fast in movement. Everyone else, they just want to go fight. And I wonder if you're going to be obliging them if you're Omega. Is it wise to oblige Echo in a lineup that obviously wants to fight?
Yeah, I think not only that, whether you're obliging them or not, is also just, once again, somehow figuring out how to counterplay around JP and Sanji, right? Again, those 2 heroes alone are going to be the first stepping stones that Smart Omega has to get around, especially as the level 4s come into play, you know, into that first turtle even, as we see them rotate up there for now. And this is where it really is going to matter. We'll see how this plays out. If it's the first turtle going to the hands.
Whoa, Matty boy.
Definitely sure that wasn't on purpose. And it doesn't help the situation that Entomas actually stole away the rough waves. Here we go, breaking out. There's your shatter. JP very low. JP barely gets away.
Oh.
Sanji does first blood on the Ryota. Sanji gets 2K. Down goes Matt, and Kaldizi takes the turtle as well. The Mamba has fallen. Thank you very much. Echo walks away with everything.
That was a disaster for Smart Omega right there, right? Kelro flickering as well to stay alive, but wow, 4 deaths plus that turtle. Just all going in the hands of Echo here. That is a strong start this early on, and it could be a preview of what to happen.
Joseph, that's an understatement. A strong start? 4-0 turtle? Dude,
That's a massive start.
right? It's big damn.
It's big.
It's big damn, I gotta say. It's funny, it wasn't even a combo, a Breath of the Ocean, Rough Waves combo. It was the other way around. It was Rough Waves into the Breath of the Ocean.
Here we go, wild charge coming in. And the pull, Benny Cutie gets hit with a heavy spin from the back. And Matt finds sweet vengeance.
Oh, good play. But Matt
he might get traded.
Oh, that's it. He's down. JP gets him.
Okay.
That felt weird. That was an overplay.
It was like throwing a lot at the wall, you know?
Maybe too much, because I feel like that would have been a kill already if Matt hadn't jumped in. Sorry, against the wall. It feels weird.
I guess, in addition, one more adjective, it felt unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Like, you didn't have to do that right then and there, but now Sanford forced to use a split as Ryota pops the Primal Wrath. Ain't no one home. It's a dead lane, and still Kaldizi coming in. Phantom Execution steals away the golden buff.
Yeah, again, you know, Smart Omega, like I said, I think at some point they're just trying to get what they can, especially with that big damn start or deficit that they had to deal with that first turtle. That's tough to deal with, right? And this also gives the confidence. Look at Carl Teasy, he's 2 levels ahead of Matt. Gonna force him to fight for this buff.
Here we go, heavy spin on the Carl Teasy. Down goes Cam. What a charge on the Carl Teasy. Everything but the kitchen sink. Chaknu scores a kill.
Hey, that was great, though, for Matt, right? He's like, all right, I see you. I see you, Carl Teasy.
That was an overplay. That was actually very bad as well for Echo, since it's already turtle time. So obviously the timers are very short, but somehow they're still holding on to it.
Yep, Ryota here forced to use a flicker on ward.
Whoa.
Couldn't find Sanji, and they're just scrumming around. Benny Cutie, armed with the Renner, goes for the flank. Looking at this now. Here we go, throwing out a bullet. Ryota gets caught into the grab. Sanford walks away so casually as Echo gain control of the turtle pit.
Okay, now they're going to go ahead and start that up. Kelro working on the top side there. See how they find it out. Both junglers getting prepped and ready.
Turtle less than half health here. Going in for the combo. Benny Cutie pops Chaknu. And there's the retribution. Matt scores a big one. Second turtle of the game going over to the barangay.
All right, so a lot of question marks being thrown up here. You know, exclamation points, what's happening? A lot of skills missing. But so far, it is going to be for Omega. They're slowly catching up, at least.
Yeah, again, a little scrappy, right? But Smart Omega doing what they have to do. At 2 Max also holding on to the Divine Judgment here. See if they can play around it. But that's the one thing is Matt's finding these retributions. If he can continue to do that, punish Carl Teasy, maybe make Carl Teasy think now twice before doing what he did earlier, right? Getting locked down. That might be what it takes for Smart Omega too. You know, throw everything but the kitchen sink at Echo for now.
Yeah.
And kind of work around that.
Every small thing counts. You'll notice Heptacy's already built up for Kelra, so he's actually pretty strong right now.
Conceal coming in. JP goes for the pull. Divine Judgment on the Ryota. He pops the Primal Wrath. And from the flank, Sanji finds him. There's a pickoff. Huge for Echo.
Echo definitely not overthinking anything right now. They're just playing it nice and simple. If there's an enemy in front of us, let's throw out our skills and see what Omega does.
Here we go. One more time to engage. Etomax used the flicker, getting out of there. Kelra still alive. Torn up by memory, but Carl Teasy makes a beeline for him. Phantom Execution underneath tier 1. Etomax goes down. Sanji drowns him. And now Chaknu gets